here I am going down the road to the market in the morning in a big yellow, Hummer in my first year of yachting. I mean, I was just going, what the hell is happening?
Cool.
All right. So basically my yachting story began pretty much my third year of culinary school, where I got interested in yachting and the travel and the amounts of money you could earn and so forth. Had started reading books on it back then. However, I kind of got stuck in SA, working in the safari lodges and boutique hotels and so on and so on. Fast forward then from 2003 to the beginning of 2015, a very good friend of mine who'd been doing his yachting courses while at the same time I was doing my chef course down in Cape Town, called me up and said they were looking for a chef, and he was his first officer on a 47-meter boat based out of Cannes in the south of France. At the time, I was working at a boutique hotel called the Turbine, which is a restored power station that used to still be on the grid not as far back as 2006, supplying power and so on, and has now been transformed into a boutique hotel. And basically he said to me, if I can get you on, will you come? It was a bit of a risk in that I had to hand in my resignation, not knowing whether I had a job or not. But I had said to the manager, if the job doesn't materialize, that I will then stay on. So he basically took the envelope with the resignation letter and just put it on his desk and slipped it under his keyboard and said, well, we'll just leave that there for now, sort of thing, which was quite nice of him.
Before we continue, we'd like to thank Huss Knives for sponsoring today's video. Made from high quality Japanese stainless steel, this knife features a hygienic rustic style handle and a 38-degree blade edge that ensures extreme sharpness. Huss knives come out the box razor sharp and they'll stay that way for years. The curved blade and grip hole enables better precision and handling to make chopping and cutting actions easy. It's safe and durable. The sharp blade makes sure that the knife won't slip from applying unnecessary force and won't hurt your hands. It is light, durable and sturdy. A great knife can revolutionize your daily meal prep. Get a professional quality knife for all your needs. They do not dull and can be used to produce the thinnest of slices. Trying out Huss Knives is free as it assures a 30-day money-back guarantee. And currently, for all my viewers, Huss Knives is running a 70% discount on all their authentic Japanese-inspired knives. The deal won't last for long, so make sure you check out by clicking my special link in the description box below or in the pinned comment.
Sort of 25, 26 days into my notice period and numerous emails and phone calls and, food pictures and menus, we managed to twist the captain's arm into hiring me all the way back in South Africa, which is kind of unheard of, but not impossible, as I do know a few other guys that have managed to do the same. So once that was out the way and in the bag, it was then the task of actually now going and doing all the relevant courses, and they don't do those courses in Knysna, so it meant traveling down to Cape Town, where you'd also have to apply for the visa and trying to make everything work out, as in getting the visa on time, because obviously also now they wanted me by a certain date in April and we were already sort of beginning of March. Basically doing the firefighting, doing the first aid, getting all those courses done, doing a few others, the powerboats level 2, which I haven't ever used as a chef, so think about that one before they sneak that one in. And then also you could also only apply for your Seaman's book if you had certain certificates and so on. So it was all quite sort of a balance of time, getting all the courses done, hoping to get the visa through on time before being able to then also, book your tickets and board a plane for something you kind of had no idea what you were getting yourself into. I was lucky enough to be picked up, landed at Nice airport, and as you know, as you come in, it's one of the most beautiful airports in the world to come and land, and get whisked away to into Cannes, which is as well, if you've never been there, it's almost like the Hollywood of the south of France. I didn't have to do a day of dock walking or anything like that, or live in a crew house. So my entry into yachting was quite easy. I wouldn't say stress-free, but compared to others, I think I fared quite well. The boat I joined at the time was a 47-meter Leopard, jet engine, super fast. I remember saying we were in the port right on the end with all the big boats, and I said to my friend, I said, how are we going to turn this thing out the port? Because it was almost like a 90-degree turn. He said, don't worry, it just turns on a, you know, it just showed my ignorance of how these boats can just literally turn in the same spot that they are, you know. So no, beautiful boat, super fast, German owners, like to have a good old party, you know, it was private. As far as the traveling side of things, it was a great boat for the first boat, because we went straight from Cannes, went down to San Remo for a 2-week yard period, great little bars, bike tracks and all that sort of thing in San Remo. From there it was back up to Cannes and then down to Saint Tropez for a couple boss trips, and it was the proper sort of coming into port. The music's turned up, everyone's dancing on the aft deck, you know, you go to bed and wake up at 7 a.m. and the guests are still up from the night before, kind of thing, you know. So it was kind of into the deep end and kind of an eye-opener, but kind of what you kind of expected to see what yachting was, you know. Certainly what I would be doing if I owned a yacht. So after a couple of trips in Saint-Tropez, which is stunning, and it's a dream for a chef to provision in, because you have all the markets, great fish markets and supermarkets and butcheries and delis and truffles and caviar. Literally, like, you could walk out and do 30 minutes of shopping and be back on board the boat with everything, or have them bring it to the boat. You know, a 10-day trip in Saint-Tropez is one of the easiest in the world, because if you're going around to Pamplona Beach, they're going for lunch as well, you know. So that was really good. I mean, obviously, like I say, it was... We traveled a lot from Saint-Tropez. We then moved all the way down and we crossed down to Turkey, to Bodrum, and the owner of Swarovski was having a party down there and he was invited to that. So first year of yachting, that's quite a passage to do, you know, through the Messina Straits, with the Corinth Canal, you know, all in the first year, which is, you know, was pretty spectacular. I haven't done it since, you know. Haven't got past Corsica or Sardinia or Naples. Spent a bit of time down in Turkey, very interesting, and then headed back up to Greece. Spent a bit of time in Mykonos. Was great because we sort of were there for about 4 weeks and the boss only came for 1. So we had a lot of downtime to, you know, cruise around the island on, you know, 4-wheelers and go to beach bars and, you know, all the things that's supposed to be, you know, about yachting. From there, we started to move back towards Ibiza. We also crossed, and it was, weather wasn't great, but obviously I didn't know any, I was none the wiser at the time, but it definitely wasn't, you know, it's not easy with the, you know, the seasickness kind of gets better as you get along, but there definitely in the first bit, there definitely is an element of that. We arrived obviously in Ibiza, you know, the captain had told us, you know, listen, he's lost a lot of crew to Ibiza, so, you know, just be forewarned that, you know, is quite well known as a party, you know, capital, party island. I mean, you would know as well as that. Spent 3 great weeks there. He had actually got his driver to drive his yellow Hummer down from Germany, put on a ferry and bring it across to the island, which he then used, but then was our crew car, you know. So luminous yellow, big bull bar headlights across the top of it, you know, not the most inconspicuous car in the world. It took like a lane and a half across the little island roads. You needed 2 parkings to put the thing in, you know. So here I am going down the road to the market in the morning in a big yellow, you know, Hummer in my first year of yachting. I mean, I was just going, what the hell is happening, you know? I kind of remember the one morning going to the bakery in this yellow Hummer. You know, you look all cool in that, but then you jump out and you're in your yachting uniform, and so you're not that cool. But going into the bakery and finding that you had people still from the night out. They were coming to the bakery from their night out. You still had the ladies of the night in the bakery. You had joggers in the bakery, and I remember looking around thinking, you know, well, this is pretty interesting, pretty mix of people. But no, we stayed and toured around the island for quite a bit, and then we picked up a charter for 3 weeks with Not the Boss. They were really nice people. I remember the chief stew at the time. She was pregnant from the season before and had been asked to come back to help out for that season because she wasn't due till the end. And she was pushing, and she was getting married, so she was pushing for a 10% tip per crew member. So basically, we walked away with, I think it was like 6,800 euros per crew member for that 3-week charter, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
In considering the tips I've had since then haven't been, that high. So that was great. And I mean, in the first year of yachting, you're always doing you're converting back to rands. So, you're telling all your friends back home, I've just got this, 6,800 euro tip. And I think at the time it was 22 to the rand or something. So you're like, I've just got tipped 120,000 rand for 3 weeks of work. Yeah, it was pretty mind blowing. It was a pretty impressive first year because, like I say, I haven't done those crossings and been down to Greece and Turkey and those areas since that first year. It's been more the Corsica, Sardinia, Naples and so on, and obviously touched a bit in the Caribbean. But journey into yachting was definitely an easy one, but it's also, again, it's not very easy for a lot of South Africans because there's a huge outlay to get these courses done and so on and get into it, but it's not impossible.
But you also had a skill set coming into yachting. You're already a chef at a hotel.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes it easier. But what also happens is that because you've had experience on land, that doesn't necessarily transcend into yachting, because you can go from running a big kitchen or being a Michelin star chef and you're having great skills and execution and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you're a sole chef on a boat or even an executive, which they call an executive head chef, they'll only have another one person in the galley with you who will be cooking for crew. But you're washing your own dishes. You got to make sure you've got all your own provisions. Sometimes you've got to go and fetch them yourselves. You don't have people bring them to the back door. So logistics and manual labor increase. Whereas in a Michelin star restaurant, you would have 20 chefs around you and they each got their individual task, and you've got Michelin experience, but you had a Michelin experience within this team of Michelin chefs, and you had people washing your pots and pans and things like that. So your time gets divided up a lot more in yachting, whereas you would have time to focus on one thing in a Michelin restaurant, and your thing would be making sauces or doing that or putting all those elements together on a plate, but have been made by 20 guys behind you. So you've kind of got to be a jack of all trades. You have to know how to do a bit of everything. Yeah, definitely having the skill set helps, but it's still difficult if you don't have that first initial year or 2 years of experience on what it's like to have to try and provision on the Amalfi Coast when you've run out of things and the only supermarkets a 3k hike up into the small streets of the old town just to find a small supermarket that barely sells, a few things. So the challenges are real, and if you're not organized, you can come short. Obviously, client requests can be, anything from, the one charter we had, and this was fast forward a few years on a 55 meter, and the previous charter I'd ordered watermelons, and I'd got these beautiful little sugar melons, watermelons about the size, just under the size of a football, perfect size, seedless, look great. And the next charter I was like, okay, they were so great, I'll order a couple more. And you're ordering stuff for a week, 2 weeks, 12 guests, you're using a melon if not 2 a day. So okay, can I get 12 melons? The next melons arrived, they were huge. Like, I barely had anywhere to store them. But funny thing was that these guests all of a sudden decided, no, they wanted to eat half a watermelon at a time per person with a teaspoon. So literally I would cut the watermelon in half, cut the bottom off so it could sit flat on the plate. They'd put the plate in front of them and they'd sit with a teaspoon and just eat a watermelon like that. So by fluke, I managed to have these watermelons on board. Yeah, it's just, funny requests like that, or people's eating habits that you have to be aware of, or try and, they might not always pop up on the preference sheet, or you might not even get a preference sheet. And then you've just got to, sort of try and cover all the bases. So it's challenging, but it can be very rewarding. you are majority of the time on your own in the galley. You're feeding all the crew, you're feeding all the guests. So you're literally waking up and it's cooked from the start to the finish. You move from breakfast for the guests to the crew, and it's lunch, dinner. Yeah, it's a bit more challenging, and I think, you know, people think it's all glamorous and that, but you know, if you don't have a galley window, sometimes you don't even know where you are. Yeah. You know, you're definitely not jumping on the jet skis and having a dip in the water and that. But overall, I've had, you know, very good experiences. Nothing too crazy with horrible guests or owners. They've tended to all be respectful. Another challenge is also obviously these days, which I found now, is crew dietaries is been a growing factor in the industry. And I remember on the first boat when I joined, the captain said to me in the yard in San Remo, "Oh yeah, I had the chef, and the reason why he left yachting was because of the crew." With the millennials and that, there's more and more. Not, I wouldn't say, you know, if someone's got an allergy, that's fine. I can manage with that. But if it's just the fact that I don't like something, and you know, the last boat was, you know, 2 vegetarians, 1 no spice, 1 allergic to fish, 1 doesn't eat fish, 1 doesn't, you know, allergic to egg whites. And if you throw that into the middle of a charter with guests, you got your hands full. But all in all, it's definitely something that I wouldn't go back to restaurants, you know, over yachting. There's some really good boats out there, and there's a lot of party boats out there. Mm-hmm. Pick what suits you, I think.
Cool, dude.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Check out the other crew stories we have in the playlists, and hoping to do some more. If you are a crew in the super yacht industry and you would like to share a story with us, then get in touch in our Instagram account. Give us a little summary about your story, and if we like it, we'll get on video and post it onto this YouTube channel to share with the audience. All right, guys, see you soon. Ciao, ciao.